Hi guys, Harbs here. This video will be focusing on a conversation that we can have with the deceased Mind Flayer in the Goblin camp. If you enjoy the theories and the lore in the video, then do please give me a like and subscribe. Okay, let's go. First off, let's see what happens when we ask this dead Mind Flayer, are there any of your kind nearby?
You see dark tunnels lit by noxious pools of brine. The darkness spreads through the earth. The sky splits open, and Nautiloids pour out of a void that consumes the stars.
So, first off, noxious pools of brine. Brine is actually what the Mind Flayer tadpoles are kept in, according to Cordell's the Illithiad, and the darkness spreading throughout the earth seems to show some very widespread Illithid activity upon Faerun. Now, the second bit may seem confusing because if you know anything about the Mind Flayers, their ability to construct Nautiloids is basically defunct, especially if we look at Forgotten Realms lore. We could get into Spelljammer, but even there is not the scale of Nautiloids to literally consume every star. Spelljammer consists largely of Illithid pirates. So, where would all these Nautiloids come from? Well, we often think that Illithids were first overthrown by the Githyanki in the distant past, aeons upon aeons ago. However, this is apparently one small fragment of the Illithid's true empire. Let's take a look at the Lords of Madness and see what it has to say on this. While the rebellion of the Gith did indeed take place in the past about 2,000 years ago, to be precise, their Mind Flayer masters had themselves just arrived in that era from the unimaginable future. At the very end of time, the Mind Flayers faced extinction at the hands of some unknown adversary. Caught in the throes of defeat, harried in their crumbling capitals and universities, the surviving Illithids concocted a desperate plan. As their last bastions were assailed and their psychic defences breached, the Mind Flayers sacrificed countless ancient potent Eilderbrains to produce a psionic maelstrom of unimaginable proportions. The ensuing cacophony of energy demolished the very laws that support the structure of time. The Illithids and all that remained of their decadent civilization were hurled backwards across the ravaged barriers, separating the ages to arrive in the present world, but thousands of years ago, as recorded in the Sargon prophecies. This is interesting because during this escape from the unimaginable future, it could be that some Illithids arrived in different points in time, and if they are from the unimaginable future, that they have technology that far outweighs that of the present Illithid world. It is possible that the Illithids that arrived back in the distant past to enslave the Gith could have also brought back advanced technology, but this might have been lost after the Gith rebellion. What is this advanced technology? Well, first and foremost, the immediate transformation that we can see during the Ceramorphosis on the ship.
Changed at the pull of a lever. How? If we are not purified, this may be our fate.
And the fact that a Mind Flayer can run a Nautiloid with so many dead Mind Flayers on board. In Lords of Madness, we can see the following regarding a Mind Flayer called Zuxuto. Zuxuto's Nautiloid is a relic from the distant future, powered by a magical technology that has not yet been invented. The Illithids run the ship with a skeleton crew and do not even bother to man the weapons. We can see evidence of this upon the Nautiloid, which captures us in Baldur's Gate 3. These blast cannons appear to be firing on their own, even if they are seemingly being maintained by the thralls upon the ship. We can see a recent version of a Nautiloid in the newly released 5th edition adventure Rime of the Frost Maiden, where a Nautiloid manned by ceramorphed gnomes crashes into Icewind Dale. In older versions of D&D, gnome Illithids were not even possible due to the height, but are now a thing apparently. On this Nautiloid there were no blast cannons and only a ballista. These gnome ceramorphs are spacefarers and have had problems with their ship, hence the crash. Now, I'm not sure whether this Mind Flayer is from the unimaginable future as described in the Lords of Madness, because the deceased Mind Flayer does curse the starborn slaves when referring to the Gith. However, I wonder whether there is a bigger Illithid presence waiting outside of realm space that is perhaps using the Mind Flayers of the current age to facilitate their arrival. When we ask the deceased Mind Flayer who the Absolute is, it has the following to say.
Fractured images fill your mind. Curved drow blades, crude goblin torches, gnoll teeth, dripping blood. You see other Mind Flayers arranged in a serene circle. Absolute unity. Absolute power.
So, who are these mind flayers in a serene circle? Well, they could be the clergy of a mind flayer deity called Illuthid. It is my opinion that the Illithids might be the absolute based on what this dead mind flayer says, and they are potentially allied with the dead three. A YouTuber called Chublot, whose channel I have linked below, has been data mining the files from Baldur's Gate 3. He recently discovered the voice files of Karlach, and she says the following regarding the Absolute and Shar.
The Dark Lady, befouled by the Absolute's mark. Heresy.
The Dark Lady befouled by the Absolute's mark. Many people have been talking about Shar being the Absolute, but given the lack of acknowledgement from Shadowheart regarding this, it may be that other deities are channeling Shar's divine essence into tricking the drow, goblins and gnolls into believing that the divine goddess is leading them, when in fact we can actually see Dead 3 symbolism on many of the goblins and Priestess Gut. Now, it is my belief that Priestess Gut is channeling her cleric powers through the Dead 3, hence why she is required to have symbolism of the Dead 3 upon her, but I don't believe she truly understands what this is. Shar would be quite weakened as she was only recently defeated when her servant Telemont Tantul was killed by Elminster, and in 5th edition there has been little mention of her Shadow Weave. Illuthid, the greatest of all Illithid deities, has a powerful clergy within the most powerful Illithid city in the whole of Faerun, a place known as Arundel. In Drizzt's Guide to the Underdark, it states the following. During the time of troubles, the tentacled lord manifested in Arundel, once again, adopting the elder brain of Arundel as its avatar form. A major consequence of the Great Brain's manifestation has been the mental stimulation of Arundel's Illithid inhabitants, and the resultant burst of creative energy. The name of the clergy of Illuthid are called the Venerators, and we can see a picture of them in Drizzt's Guide to the Underdark here. Now, we know that the tadpoles were infested with shadow magic given what the hag tells us, but if the Dead 3 have hijacked Shar's Shadow Weave and have now teamed up with the Mind Flayers, then as I said in a previous video, it could be a win-win for all factions involved. The Mind Flayers allow whoever is controlling the Absolute to benefit from the true souls doing their bidding, until the time is right and the Illithids, possibly being influenced by Illuthid, unleash the new technology to transform everyone into Illithids, which at the same time removes the tadpole stasis effect. There's a lot of information on Illuthid out there, guys, a lot of which you can find in the Lords of Madness, so I won't go through all of that here. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed some of these theories and the lore attached to it, then do please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!